Hey, I'm Chris Zepp from Make Everything, and today marks the 3-year anniversary of opening up my shop, and I thought I would make a little video sharing the 5 things I've learned over the last 3 years in business as a maker, fabricator, and educator. Check it out. All right, the first thing I learned when I opened up my shop is that it's going to cost way more than you think to open up a place like this. I had a bunch of money set aside when I opened up my shop. I had about $15,000. The space I moved into was totally raw when I got here. There was no working electric. It was flooding. The floors needed to be painted. I needed to build all the benches. So I spent a lot of money. I kind of thought that the money would stretch a little bit longer, but it really didn't. So my biggest piece of advice is, make sure you have the support system around you for your help. My friends, Mike, Mac, a bunch of other guys came in and were, unbelievably helpful when I opened up my shop, helping me move equipment. Mike wired the whole place and did an unbelievable job. Even with all that help, it still cost me way more money than I thought. So make sure you have all your ducks in a row. When you're looking for a space, make sure you find a space that isn't going to totally break the bank on your investment. Try and find a space that's already been sort of set up before you open your business, and you don't have to spend all your money wiring power and all these other things. So number 1, it costs more than you'll ever think possible to open a place like this. All right, the second thing I've learned in the last 3 years here is that it's going to take a lot more time than you think. First of all, to get things done, and second of all, to have your business be self-sustaining. Now, before I started here in this big shop, I was working out of my garage doing, similar work, but on a much smaller scale. And I figured, get the big shop, I'll get the big jobs. It takes a long time. And on top of just the working time, the actual time that this place takes out of my life is unbelievable. I work a full-time job. A lot of people don't know that. They think I'm here 40 hours a week. I am here 40 hours a week, but it's after my full-time day job, my 9 to 5. So I'm here almost every day from 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night. And I would say 75% of that time isn't spent doing projects. It's just spent dealing with this place. The shop's about 3,000 square feet, and there is always something to do. There's always going to be cleaning or organizing or a shelf or a bench to build. I run the shop by myself. I do get a lot of help from friends, but for the most part, all the burdens, even just taking out the garbage, all that stuff takes time. It takes way more time out of your life than you will ever expect. Now that I've gotten used to it, it's become just such a routine. It's part of my life, and I love every minute of it. But just be aware, being in a place like this, setting up a business like this is going to take a tremendous amount of time. The third thing I've learned in the last 3 years is always to keep my business model fluid. Now, when I started this shop, the idea was to make a public maker space, somewhere that people could come in and rent shop space and use my tools, and I could help them. I would be teaching, and I would be doing fabricating projects, and I was just going to let it go kind of where it went. But turns out a couple years later, my personal fabricating load, the work that I have to do for clients, has become by far the most time-consuming and important thing that my business does. Very fortunate to have a great network of people around that provide me with a lot of really amazing and creative jobs, and those jobs take up a lot of time, and more importantly, they take up a lot of space. I still do have people come in and use the shop, and they rent time here, they use some of the equipment, I help them along the way, but that's not the primary focus like it once was. The other thing is, I never really thought that teaching would be as important to my business as it is. We teach woodworking and welding here, and it's been really important just in helping to pay the rent, getting a couple students in here, and it's just been such an amazing experience to help people learn how to make stuff. And the joy that people have when they weld for the first time, or they use the table saw for the first time, it's amazing. So being fluid in your business, being fluid in this business has been so important. The other thing that I never really thought of was kind of buying and selling of equipment. I come through a lot of machinery. A lot of machinery comes up for me. I buy it, I sell it, I upgrade, and that stuff sometimes has been really substantial, and it's been really helpful. That being said, you always have to sort of be ready for the next thing to come. People have asked me to do batch runs of things, run machining parts or make stuff for them and not even really finish it so that they can use it for their business. all that stuff, all of it adds up. At the end of the day, I'm trying to build a business that's self-sustaining, that can pay its rent, and isn't being completely subsidized by my day job, which for a long time it was. So being fluid and able to adjust to the different ways that you can make money in a shop like this has been incredibly important. And I think that if you try to stay too rigid in your business model and try to only make money in one way, I feel like that would have been a fast way for me to run out of money and wind up losing my shop. All right, number 4, treat every job as a lesson. I have learned so much in the last couple of years about what things I'm capable of, what things I'm not really so comfortable with, and most of those lessons come through my projects. You know, every job there's an opportunity to learn, either with your pricing, with your process, your materials. There's so many ways to learn on every project, and I found that keeping an open mind and trying new things, accepting new jobs, maybe not pricing them right the first time, it's really imperative for your growth. And it's been really, really important for my growth here in the shop. You know, I do a lot of really weird things, you know, build displays for catering companies, make knives for people, you know, a lot of these different projects that a normal fabricating shop maybe wouldn't take on. But by doing everything, by making everything, I always find an opportunity to learn during that process. You're almost getting paid for the education. And every once in a while I slip up and I bid something too low, or I make a mistake and I either break even on the job and don't make any money, or I actually lose money and I spend an extra $200 or $300, maybe more, on material, and it eats in past the profits into my pocket. That's gonna happen. You know, I do all my own pricing here. I manage all that stuff of the business completely on my own. And I do ask friends that are in the same sort of world, in, you know, how to price jobs or what they think. And, you know, having an incredible network of really talented people around me is super helpful. And I always encourage people to reach out to other people that are doing the work that you want to do and try to learn from them. You know, most fabricators and makers like me, we also are educators, even if they don't realize it. I meet people all the time that say they can't teach, and then they explain something to me and I tell them that they'd be an amazing teacher. You know, this is a community of people that wants to help one another. If I've learned anything, it's that. So treat all your jobs as lessons and use the people around you that are doing similar work to help learn how to do your work better, and you will become more successful and be able to do and take on more complicated things in the future. All right, the 5th and final thing, and possibly the more controversial thought when opening up a business like this, is don't quit your day job. Like I said earlier, and something that I feel like a lot of people, especially here on YouTube, don't know, is that I still work full time. I never quit my job even after starting the shop. And like I said about money and time, this takes up a lot of my time on top of my job. But you know, when things are tough here, I never have to worry about not being able to pay the bills. It would be such a shame to build up a place like this and then hit a low part in the season and not be able to pay your bills and lose it all. So I've always remained at my day job. And yeah, it's a lot more work. It's very tiring. And sometimes I feel like I'm split in two between my day job life and my shop life. But it's really given me the financial security here, and it allows me to work here with a little less fear of, you know, losing everything. Now, 3 years later, the shop does provide for itself. I'm no longer subsidizing it. But at a certain point, I'd be lying if I said I didn't really need to reach into my pockets to keep this place afloat. You know, there were times where I had to actually look around at the stuff that I had and sell things that I maybe wanted to keep because I just couldn't pay the rent. These are hard decisions that are going to come up, and I can't imagine how much harder things would have been had I not had, you know, a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks from my job. Now, that being said, I don't plan on working full-time forever. Eventually, you know, this place will continue to build itself up and it will pay for everything, and I won't have to split myself in two, and then I can really, really focus my energy here. But if I can make any suggestion to someone thinking about starting a fabricating shop, is keep your job as long as you can and just keep some of the pressure off of yourself in terms of, you know, fitting the bill. Now, I'm in New York, I'm on Long Island. Things are expensive here. This shop is not cheap. So maybe where you live, the rents aren't that bad, or maybe you have a barn or an outbuilding that you're not paying rent on, but this place can cost me upwards of $3,000 a month, and that's a lot of money to make fabricating. Sometimes it's just not there. So with various streams of income, and luckily YouTube and the other ways that you can make money online, things have been really good the last couple of months, and the shop is keeping itself afloat. But I'm not quitting my day job the first day that I break even. The shop needs to be totally running smoothly. It has to be able to pay its rent for a year. At every moment I want to have enough money in the account that the shop can pay its rent for 1 year in case everything goes badly. So keep your job. Know that this is going to take you a lot of time. Save your money and your favors. Look at everything as a lesson, and don't forget to keep your business model fluid, and you can do something like this. I get so many messages about the business side of what I do, and so many messages about starting a shop like this and how people want to have all the cool tools and the space and all that stuff. Anyone can do this. You just have to really want it. You have to work harder than you'll ever work in your entire life. You have to not sleep and get up early and answer emails while you're half awake and drive all over the country if that's what you have to do to meet the right people and make the right connections. You're gonna have to work so hard to do this, but I'm telling you, it is 100% worth it. 3 years later, I'm happier than I ever could be in this space. I have an amazing group of sponsors that help me out here and provide stuff for me, and I'm gonna put links to all their stuff down in the descriptions. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate the support that I've gotten here on YouTube and on my Instagram. It is paramount. It keeps me going, and I really do love bringing the education and the business side of what I'm doing here to people. So if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. You can always email me, call me, whatever it is. If you have questions about this, I always try to provide support to people that want to do something like this. It's been my dream to have a shop like this. It's been my dream to be able to bring the education and the things that I've learned to a large audience like here on YouTube. So thank you so much for helping me make this dream a reality. I'm Chris Zepp from Make Everything. I hope you enjoyed this little video. There's a lot more coming. There's so much going on at the shop on a weekly basis, and I hope to take you along with me on that ride. So thanks again, and I will see you on the next video.